Hello everyone! How are you doing today? I am back, and I have a very special review today. A review that a couple years ago I honestly never thought I would give, but here we are. A review of the Sonic the Hedgehog theatrically released movie. I want to say real quick that I'm going to get into spoilers later on, but real quick, if you haven't seen the movie and don't want it spoiled for you, just real quick thoughts. It's good. You know, it's not, I wouldn't say it's like the greatest thing ever, but it's not bad. It's a pretty good movie. It's a fun time. It's a good, heartwarming film, and I would very much recommend go seeing it, especially if you're a Sonic fan. There was nothing in it that was really like, that I would say is really like offensive to Sonic fans, because there is stuff, and whenever they have a licensed property, there will be things where it's like, that character wouldn't do that, or that's stupid, or they blatantly point out that something is stupid in the thing that they're taking material from. This doesn't really do that. The only thing I can say that's kind of similar to that, which isn't really a spoiler, is that Sonic flosses. And I don't mean like, you know, for his horrible, gross human teeth, because he doesn't have those anymore. I mean, like, the dance move that the youths do these days, he does that. And I saw it before I went into the movie, so I kind of like was mentally prepared for it. So when that scene happened, I was like, okay, well, at least it's over. And then they blindsided me because he does it again. He flosses twice. It's so stupid. But overall, it was a good time. I would recommend go seeing it. I'm gonna go into talking a bit about the movie's pre-release now, but I might let something slip, so I would say add this to your watch later, go watch the movie, come back, and then have a good time listening to this review. So, I will see you then. Alright, you're back, so let's talk about it. So, the Sonic movie has been something that's been present since I entered the fandom. I remember back when Sony was doing it, and they said they were going for like a Dark Knight approach to it. If you can find that interview, I distinctly remember them referencing Dark Knight. And then it changed hands a couple times, and then it just got to the point where it's like, we're never gonna see this. And then like Miller, the Deadpool guy, got attached to it, and then they cast Jim, and like more and more stuff started happening to where like we had to acknowledge that this was a real thing that was gonna happen. And then, you know, before that we found out that it was gonna be a live action CGI hybrid, and everyone got all upset because they were like, it would be so much better if it was fully animated, which I agree. I think that that's absolutely true. However, I feel like we can't really judge this movie based off, it would be so much better if, no, this is the movie we get, we judge it based off of that, we don't judge it based off of what it could have been. I feel like that's a fair thing to say. And then, so all this stuff came out, and then we got that first poster. Oh boy, that first poster. But even after that poster, I was still kind of hopeful. I was thinking maybe they can pull this off. You know, I wasn't in the same camp other people were. Other people thought it was a publicity stunt. I was pretty confident that that was it. But I was like, maybe it looks more flattering from a different, when he's not doing that. Like, I don't know. And then we got those leaks, which were seemingly the final design. And then we got the trailer. Oh boy. So, any Sonic fan knows that we, for over a decade now, have essentially became the laughingstock of the gaming community. That sucks, but it's just kind of accurate. You know, Sonic himself has become a laughingstock, and we, because we are fans of it, just kind of get to be easy targets, and no one really thinks about, you know, these people are entitled to like what they like. But, you know, that's a topic for another day. And this was even worse, because, like, everyone, Stephen Colbert did a bit about it on his show. Everyone was coming together now to laugh and to make fun of Sonic. And that sucks. And they almost immediately, I think, was it that same day, or was it the day after? It was very shortly after, when they were like, when Jeff Fowler tweeted out, like, we're gonna fix it, don't worry. And then a little bit after that, they released that thing where it was him holding the sign with a new release date. And then, even further along after that, we got the new trailer, which showed us the new design. You know, well, before that we got leaks of the new design, and then we got the trailer of the new design. And it looked good. That brings us to today with the movie. Let's talk about that now. So the plot begins with Sonic on Mobius, and yes, I'm going to keep calling it that until it gets a new official name. Sonic on Mobius. And you know how Baby Sonic got all hyped up? There was a whole thing with him and Sonic Dash and in Sonic Forces Speed Battle. And he got his own little trailer, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, Baby Sonic's so cute. He's in, I want to say he has less than a minute of screen time. He is in none, he's practically not in the movie. And we meet Longclaw, who is kind of like his mentor, and I don't understand why this wasn't just Uncle Chuck. Uncle Chuck wasn't wrapped up in any of that Ken Penders stuff, so they absolutely could have used him, and it would have been... And because Longclaw is, again, in this movie for probably less than a minute. So it almost doesn't matter who they put there. But it would have been a cool, like, nod and a wink if it had been Uncle Chuck, is all I'm saying. But then, to my surprise, I did not see this coming. The Echidna tribe, presumably the Knuckles clan, shows up and tries to steal Sonic because they want his power. They kill Longclaw, and Sonic escapes into the human world. My face when the Knuckles clan showed up, because here's the thing. I knew this was going to be a movie for filthy casuals. I did not expect for there to be like deep cut references. But I'll be damned. I was not expecting that. We cut to 10 years later, and he's creepily watching people through their windows, and like it's supposed to be charming, but it's definitely creepy. He causes a blackout by being sad, and then he meets up with Tom the cop. Robotnik shows up, and he's looking for him, and then Sonic and Tom go on a road trip to San Francisco because Sonic drops his rings through a portal accidentally to San Francisco. We'll get to the warp rings a bit later, because a lot of people didn't know that reference, and I did, so it was really frustrating, but I also understand why people didn't get the reference. But we'll talk about that more later. So they have to go on a road trip to San Francisco, which is just kind of weird when you think about it, because Sonic has super speed, and yet they put him in a truck driving infinitely slower than he could just run there. Here's the thing. He rides in the truck because the movie needs to happen. Like, that's really what it comes down to, which is fine. Wacky hijinks ensue. They go to a bar where they have a cool slow motion scene. I feel bad because from now until the end of time, whenever you have a character who has super speed in a movie, they will always be compared to Quicksilver in Days of Future Past. That's all. Anytime they do a scene like this in a movie, that's all it gets compared to. But so, yeah, we have the bar scene, which was fun. Admittedly, it was a bit silly because Sonic wears, like... It's like when the Ninja Turtles go out in a fedora and a trench coat. Like, it's obviously not a human you're looking at. Like, the woman's reaction to first seeing him isn't, like, to be horrified at what she's looking at. She thinks it's, like, a kid in a Halloween costume, which doesn't make any sense because the eyes are clearly real and the mouth is moving. It's weird. It's asking us to take our suspension of disbelief a bit too far, in my opinion. But so they eventually get to San Francisco, and they go up there. Sonic doesn't run up the building because reasons, so they have to go in the elevator, and they have that scene from the trailer. And Robotnik shows up, they have a chase through San Francisco. They eventually end up back in Tom's hometown of Green Hills. They have their big showdown, and while Super Sonic is not in this movie, he does get a sort of like powered up form, which I am going to refer to as Chaos Sonic, for a reason that I will get into a bit later. So he does that, and then he knocks Robotnik through a portal into another world, and then the movie ends. There isn't much to spoil in this movie, honestly. We get to the post-credits scene, which is where Tails shows up through a portal, and he's looking at a thing, and he's like, I found him presumably being Sonic, and it seems like he's reacting to some sort of crisis, or he's trying to find Sonic to help with some sort of crisis. And then the movie actually, before that, there's a scene with Robotnik in the other world, and he looks more similar to the Robotnik we know, but that was already in the trailer. But the Tails scene is interesting. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on, and I'm going to say that was not originally meant to be in the movie. I think that was a last minute, shit has hit the fan, everyone's mad at us, what's a quick thing we can throw in there that like won't affect the plot, we can just put it in the credits. Tails, people like Tails. And a big thing with this is that it's the same voice actors from the games. And I heard a thing where it was like, well, maybe they just don't like Roger, but they were fine with, I'm sorry, I forget her name, but the lady who currently plays Tails. I don't think so. I think if they were gonna get actors from the games, I think it'd be irrelevant as to who they were. He's been Sonic for 10 years now, so if they were gonna pull actors from the games, I don't think they would be like, oh, I don't know, I don't think he sounds good enough. I think they would just, if they're gonna pull actors from the games, they would just get all of them. I think them using this voice actress for Tails very clearly illustrates that this was we need someone to come in here and voice this one line, we'll get this model ready, because whereas Sonic, he looks closer to his normal self than he did in the first trailer, he still is noticeably changed. Tails just kind of looks like Tails, but with like a furrier texture, which I'm fine with, of course, but like, and it's like this scene, it's on top of a hill, there's no other characters there, it very much felt like, especially since it's a CG character, so like maybe you need like some mocap, but there's nothing, you wouldn't really need a lot of input from other people to get this, it very much felt like a last minute addition to me, and I don't think they would admit it if it was. I think that's what it was. That being said, I really liked it, and they seem to be setting up some kind of sequel with that post-credit scene, which I'll talk about a bit more later. I'm going to break down each character individually, but before I get into that, I want to talk about the various Sonic references in the movie, because there are a couple. I mentioned already, the Knuckles clan shows up, but as well as that, obviously, the movie starts in Green Hill, and they're playing Friends from Sonic Mania, which I did not expect. I think they used that song in one of the promotional things, but I mean, I didn't expect it in the actual movie. So that was cool. That was cool to hear. Sonic's rings, obviously to the general public, the rings in Sonic are health items. They are things you pick up, and when you get hit, you lose them, and you gotta pick them up again. So when they see them as these portal devices, they get a bit confused. And a lot of people went like, oh, maybe that's a reference to the special stage, and other people just assumed it was a thing they made up so they could put the rings in the movie. Guys, warp rings are a thing. Rings that you throw that create portals to other places, that's a thing. That's a well-established thing in the Archie comics. And I don't know if that's what here's the thing. And I said this before when I was talking about the movie in my Q&A. Shameless plug, click in the eye corner. I don't know if the rings being portals was a reference to the Archie comics, because that would be kind of weird to do. But if they were going to reference anything from the Archie comics, to do that. But that was cool to see. Because Archie Sonic, pre-Genesis Archie Sonic is my favorite version of Sonic. So to see anything from that represented in the film is awesome. But so yeah, I kind of wanted to just clear that up. Like, that's a thing, guys. That's not a thing that the movie invented. And then, when Sonic eventually gets to Earth, they have, like, what's his name, like, Crazy Pete or something, I don't know, has this paper that he's drawn Sonic on. They call him the Blue Devil in the town, because he's kind of like an urban legend. And he draws Sonic, which I thought was funny. And there's one point when Sonic holds up this piece of paper that shows a bunch of the different worlds, and their references. One is the Mushroom World, which I saw some people saying that was a jab at Mario, because it's all mushrooms and he doesn't want to go there because the mushrooms are gross. I don't know. I think it might just be them half-assedly referencing Mushroom Hill. The other one's Earth. And then we have a world that has like a spinny thing around it, so I don't know if that's a reference to the half-pipe from Sonic 2, or what that's supposed to be. And then it gets a bit more interesting, because then we have the sun, which I'm going to reach real hard here. Is that maybe a reference to Solaris? I don't know. And almost certainly it is not. But maybe? And then we have what is very clearly the checkered ball from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So that's just another Special Zone reference. And then we have one that's redded out, so it's kind of hard to tell what that one is. And then we have one that's like a star, like it's like a 4-pointed star. The Twilight Cage, maybe, if I were to guess. There's many zones in Sonic that are like night themed, so it could be any one of those. But if we're talking about different dimensions here again, I think it could be the Twilight Cage, which is from Sonic Chronicles. I still haven't beaten that game, but essentially what the Twilight Cage is, for those who don't know, is that the Knuckles clan had a warring tribe that was called the Nocturnus, who were like very technologically advanced beings, and when Perfect Chaos, perfected and wrecked everyone's shit, they went and hid in the Twilight Cage, which was this alternate dimension. They kind of got stuck in there. So yeah, maybe that's that, or maybe they just needed another symbol for the world, so they used a star. I don't know. And then we have like a triangle, or something. Again, this is another Reddit out one. It's really hard to see, especially since, again, the movie isn't out yet, so I'm looking at a very low-res image right now. So I couldn't tell you what this is. And just other stuff of note in this image. There's what looks to me like an emerald in the lower right corner. And then from there on, there's not too many deep cut references, but again, I was impressed by the amount of references there were. San Francisco, originally I was like, well, yeah, because San Francisco and Sonic have a deep history, because, Sonic Team used to be based out of San Francisco, and that's the reason that a large majority of SA2 takes place there. I think they may have just picked San Francisco randomly, or maybe they were just able to film there. I don't know, because they don't use San Francisco to reference any of the Sonic stuff that they could. The area he runs through doesn't look at all like City Escape. He doesn't even go to the Golden Gate Bridge like in Radical Highway. They don't play City Escape, which, I mean, obviously I don't think they would have had Ted Ponnelly in the background but I think you could have had some Jun Sonoe guitar, a guitar remix of City Escape in the background during that scene. I mean, I don't know. So I don't know if they picked San Francisco because of that or just because it was easy. Besides that, yeah, I'm sure there's some references I'm missing or forgetting about, but I got all the big ones, the Knuckles clan, the rings, the various references. If you noticed any that I did not mention here, put them in the comments. Characters. So this is a movie. There are characters in said movie. So let's start out with the titular character, Sonic. Ben Schwartz does a great job in this. Sega, please put him in the games. Or bring back Jason. Preferably bringing back Jason, but I'll take adding Ben into the games as well. Please use him in the next game. Because Sonic is good. Sonic's characterization in this was really good. He's very clearly younger and more immature than other versions we've seen, but he's still Sonic. I would not say he is not Sonic. He has he's cocky, but he can get serious when he needs to, and he makes jokes. The not having any friends thing was an interesting angle to take, just because pretty much any time we've seen Sonic be able to speak in a game, he's always had at least Tails with him. So they never really played up that angle, but it's an interesting angle to do. And that one scene in the baseball stadium, it did its job to illustrate that element of Sonic's character. It was more of an emotional connection than most of what IDW has been doing. And I'll just say it, we were all thinking it. So Sonic is overall very good in this movie. As I said, he gets a new form, which is Chaos Sonic. Again, that's mine. I'm taking that. No one else, I mean, you can call him that, but I want royalties if you call him that. So that's cool. And yeah, so if we're gonna talk about Sonic, I feel like it's only fair next to talk about our other protagonist in this movie, Tom. He is great. So often in these movies, we have the problem of character we're here to see gets paired up with human character, and the story is really about human character. Alvin the Chipmunks did that, Smurfs did that, so many of these movies do that. And I will say, this is very similar. The type of movie this is very similar to those types of movies. It's very similar to the Chipmunks and the Smurfs and all that. I think where this beats those out, though, is that this one never takes anything away from Sonic to give it to the human character. Like, I would say even in Transformers they did this with Sam Witwicky. He, because at the end of the first one, right, he's the one who kills Megatron. Hell, and even if I want to give an example from Sonic, in Sonic X, when they had Chris, they took scenes away that belonged to established characters and gave them to Chris. On the Ark, Amy is the one who's supposed to convince Shadow to go fight with them. It's Chris in that. Rouge is the one he's supposed to give the inhibitor ring to. It's Chris in that. There's even instances in Sonic where they've done this. But in this, they did it very well. Tom is a likable character, and he has a believable story arc. If I were to give a negative, I would say that the movie treats him wanting to move away from his hometown. I don't like the way they do it, because essentially Sonic guilt trips him and goes like, you just want to leave this place? You want to leave all the people you love behind? And I think that's a bad message to put in a movie that's largely targeted at children. Because at some point in your life, you're gonna move away from home. You're gonna move on. You're gonna want to chase bigger and better things. And I think the fact that this movie is kind of preaching this message of being complacent, I don't know. And I think, and I get that the whole point of it was like, well, he's already happy here, and he loves the people here, and the people here love him, and they depend on him. But it's a weird message, because like, he very clearly wants to go to San Francisco, and he wants to do these things, and he gets told that that's wrong, and that's selfish to do that. And that was a weird conflict that they introduced, like, right in the middle of Sonic being mad at him for that. I didn't like that. I feel like that's a bad message to send. Like, you know, if you are wanting to go out and see the world and experience bigger, better things away from the place where you grew up, that you're selfish and that it's wrong to do that. I think that's a bad message. But overall, Tom's character is very good. Moving on from him, we have Robotnik, who is maybe the best part of the movie. I feel like Jim Carrey, and the writers, of course, perfectly nailed that element of Robotnik where he can go from silly to serious, like, right on a dime. They're able to, like, get a good mix of that, where, like, he's still goofy and he still is, you know, kind of incompetent, but he's threatening, and he's evil, and he thinks he's better than everyone. Like, they did Robotnik so well in this. And it was really cool. He was really great to see on screen. I wish he and Sonic got more time together, just like the two of them. Because, I mean, it's his arch nemesis. I think Tom interacts with Robotnik more than Sonic does. Jim Carrey's Robotnik was definitely a highlight of the movie. And I look forward to seeing more of him in the sequel. Agent Stone, just want to talk about him real quick. We continue the tradition of Robotnik having to have some sort of, like, spineless sidekick with him, you know. First to a Scratch and Grounder, then Snively, Orbot and Cubot. Overall, yeah, there wasn't really... I can't say there was a character I disliked. Although, going back to Robotnik real quick, that scene where he's dancing, they passed up the perfect opportunity to have I Am the Eggman playing there. Or at least some remix of it. Like, come on, what are you doing? You had one job, Paramount. One job. Real quick, before I get to my overall thoughts on the movie, I want to talk about something, which is my theory that I came out with a while ago now, which is, you know, if you haven't seen it, I'll put an annotation up, which was the origin of Sonic's powers. I have stated before that I believe that Sonic got his powers because he is the chosen one of the Chaos Force. And this movie doesn't outright confirm it, but it strengthens my argument a lot more than it weakens it. And I was going to make a separate video on this, but I don't think there's enough, so I'll just run through it real quick. First of all, Sonic's powers are definitely energy-based. Like, we see energy around him, which he can throw, and when he gets upset, when he gets angry, he lets out a blast of energy. We've never seen that before, right? The Knuckles clan is after him. Again, what are they most famous for going after? They're famous for going after the Chaos Emeralds, the Master Emerald, things related to the Chaos Force. And to top it all off, when Robotnik is looking at Sonic's quill, it gives him unlimited energy. What else possesses unlimited energy? The Chaos Emeralds. I'm not saying I was right or anything, but I was probably right. Although, to be fair, the movie's not canon, so there's that. But just let me have this, okay, guys? So yeah, just want to talk about that real quick. So my overall thoughts on the movie. It's pretty good. I said it before, it's pretty good. I said this before. I don't know if I've said it on camera, but I have said this in the past to other people. When the Transformers movies came out, Transformers had always been well known, but when those movies came out, they kind of boosted the popularity of Transformers. Like, you saw a lot more hype for it. You got new shows, you got more merchandise, you got all this stuff for Transformers. And even though the movie sucked, again, they were able to ride this wave, and they were able to get more and more Transformers stuff going, and Transformers was bigger than it had ever been. And I really do hope we see something like that with this. I really hope, because Sega, I cannot believe, did not have some kind of game to go out with this. Like, obviously, I don't want a movie tie-in game, really, because you know how those be. But, you know, like, I don't know, Sonic Awakening or something, you know, let's get that ready, let's make sure it's out in time for this movie, which, again, usually good art doesn't come from, we need to get this out by blank time to capitalize on blank, but just for the sake of, like, running a business, you would think they would do that. I don't know, but, I do hope they have some plan on how to capitalize on this. Fingers crossed. Make Sonic respected again. Because as I said before, he's not anymore. Not like he used to be. And I feel like this is a good way to get us back to there. If Sega, if this next game is like great, and the comics keep being good, and maybe we get a new show out, and this movie is almost certainly going to get a sequel. It's doing great at the box office right now. I think we're in for a good time as being Sonic fans. The sequel, I want to make another video on that, but real quick, again, if this movie's making money, if the next movie makes money, and the movie after that makes money, who knows? Like, Tails is obviously going to be the next one, maybe Knuckles, but maybe eventually we will get to, like, Silver, and Shadow, and Blaze, and all of them. Like, I don't know, the possibilities are endless, and I think this is a really good time to be a Sonic fan. I think we're in for a lot of good stuff. And I hope that Sega doesn't make me feel like an asshole for saying that in a few months. Or actually next month. We're getting South by Southwest. But, so yeah, this is longer than I expected. I'm gonna have to cut this down. But, yeah, thank you all for watching this review of the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Did you like the movie? Did you not like the movie? Again, respectful discussion is always encouraged in the comments. Just please don't be a dick. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to leave a like, consider subscribing, help grow the channel. I'm going to end the video now. See ya!